Hi, I'm Ilana King, and I'm an entrance exam specialist, and I run the Become an Entrance Exam Tutor training program, where I can help you to become an entrance exam tutor for 7 plus or 8 plus or 11 plus. And in this video, I wanted to talk to you about maths. When you are teaching maths for entrance exams, there is so much that you need to cover, and you need to give your students the knowledge and skills, but also embed those that knowledge and skills in practice for them. And it can get a little bit overwhelming, and sometimes it can get a little bit dull if you're just doing a lot of maths on maths on maths. So I like to mix it up, as I do with all of my tuition, by playing some games. And I like the games to be really flexible. I know that you can download a lot of printable games that are very specific to addition or subtraction or multiplication or division or anything it is that you are practicing with your student, which is great. But I like a little bit of flexibility. I like to be able to go into a session with a game and just adapt it for that particular student. And I've got a great game that I wanted to show you that I use. Now, I teach online, so I use this on a whiteboard, which I'm going to show you, but you can print this out and you can use this in face-to-face sessions just as easily. It's very adaptable. So all you need is any kind of number grid that looks like this. There are loads out there. I actually have two to show you. Here's one I've got. Here's another. It really doesn't matter. And you can, I just took these as screenshots from somewhere and have put them onto my whiteboard, but you can make this very easily. It's just lines and numbers. So any numbers that you want to use, you can go up to obviously much higher numbers. I was working on this one with some younger students, so I didn't have the numbers going very high, but you can adapt this to anything. That's what's so great about it. Okay, other than this, you need some dice. Now, I'm using online dice. I use this onlinestopwatch.com website, which allows you to change the number of dice that you want, anything from 1 dice all the way up to 10 dice. I've set this one at 4 dice. And when you click it, you can roll them. It's great. But of course, if you're doing this in person, just take some dice along, just as easy. Okay, so what's the game? The game is just to get a whole row or a whole column. Okay, so as soon as you cross them all out, you win. Simple as that, like 4 in a row, except this isn't 4, it's 5 in a row. And how do you do that? Well, this is the really clever thing about this game. And this is why I love this game so much. Okay, so the idea is that you roll the dice, and you can use each of these dice once. Okay, but the operation that you use is up to you. You could add all the dice together. And if we did that here, we would get 10. Great. If we had 10 on our board, we could cross it out. Excellent. So here we go. Let's cross out the 10. And we've used that. Fabulous. Okay. But let's just assume we had already crossed out a bunch of numbers here. Okay, let's say we had done this and, we really want to win. We want to get that 8. Okay, we roll the dice. We're not going to get 8 by adding those together, are we? So we need to get a little bit creative here. So long as you use every dice only once, you can do any operation that you like. And if you're working with younger students, it can be as simple as, okay, maybe we're going to add some of them together, and then we're going to subtract some. And this is a little bit trial and error for these students. So you might just start with the first 2 dice and say, add them together. Okay, that's 7. We can't keep adding. We're not going to get to 8. What could we do? Okay, well, 7 take away the 2. That's going to give us 5. Great. Well, we've still got that 3. We can then add that 3 back in. That's going to give us 8. Great. But of course, you can make this much more complex. You can do multiplication. So 3 times 4 is 12. We can multiply the other 2. 3 times 2, that's 6. 12 and 6, what could we do with those? It's not going to get us 8, but it might get us something else that we're trying for on our board. We can use division as well. We could multiply the first 2. 3 times 4 is 12. We can multiply that again by the 3, let's say. We could divide by something. You can make this as easy or difficult as you want. You can use factors as well, so long as you keep the rule really simple. Use every dice once. And you can increase the number of dice, you can decrease the number of dice. And I love this because it's just so flexible to use in any way you want. Simple grid. Fill it with whichever numbers you want that's going to adapt to your particular student, and then dice. That's it. And then what you do with those dice. And of course, it gets very strategic. And initially, I find with students, what they'll do is they'll just go for the simple option. They'll just add up or something very simple like that, or multiply, right? And then, but as the board starts to fill and they want to get those specific numbers to help them win, that's when they start to get creative. And that's when it starts to work really well, because you're getting them to think strategically. So as well as the math skills that you've got in here, you're actually getting them to use some reasoning skills as well, which makes this even better. So simple, that's my thing. Go for as simple as you can, as adaptable as you can, but it's fun. And you can take turns with this, or you can just get the student to do it on their own. A great game to use with any of your math students. It can be quick or it can be longer, depending on how big you make your grid. So you can use it as a very short activity. Totally adaptable, a great game, something that they find really, really fun. So if you end up using this with one of your students, let me know. I'd love to hear how it goes. You can put a comment or you can contact me directly. I hope you find this useful.